Across the interstate bridge from Missouri into St. Louis, it is Busch Stadium. Opening day presented by the Home Depot. It's the Brewers and the Cardinals. They know how to do opening day here.
One step, I make an imprint. 2 steps, it's commitment. 3 steps, I'm not done yet. Draw my other leg up, and the pace is set. And the pace is set. Gotta believe in what's real. You gotta go with what you know. You can leave here with a good feeling. You let them know you told them so. 1 step, I make an imprint. 2 steps, know what I need. Gotta believe. 3 steps, I'm not done yet. Draw my other leg up, and the pace is set.
ESPN2's coverage of Major League Baseball and its opening day presented by the Home Depot. What better place here in the Midwest than Busch Stadium in St. Louis? The Cardinals and the Brewers, National League Central clubs who were a long way apart last season in 2002. A lot of high hopes, though, for 2003. Bob Carpenter and Buck Martinez, welcome to Major League Baseball. Now, it's only 400 miles from St. Louis to Milwaukee, but in the standings, it was 41 games, Buck. And the Cardinals, a team of stars. So far, the Brewers, maybe some building blocks, but how about this St. Louis club?
Well, Bob, the St. Louis club is loaded with all-stars, and it starts right in the heart of their order. Their left fielder, Albert Pujols, has had 2 of the best first years to start a career in the history of the game. He's hit 300, driven in 100, scored 100, and hit 30 home runs in each of his first 2 seasons. Scott Rowland, a Gold Glove All-Star. Tina Martinez, Gold Glove caliber world champion from the Yankees. And the ace of the staff is Matt Morris. 39 wins his last 2 seasons. Only Randy Johnson, Kurt Schilling, Mark Mulder, and Barry Zito have won more games. He's certainly put himself in an outstanding class as far as a starting pitcher.
And even with Darryl Kyle on this staff a year ago, Matt Morris was the opening day pitcher. Now, the Brewers have a new look in the dugout with a new manager and some definite building blocks to go along with some of their young talent.
Well, Bob, obviously the Brewers have a lot of work to do, and they have changed at the top. Richie Sexson is the type of guy that you can build around. 74 home runs in the last 2 years playing first base for Milwaukee. He certainly is an awful lot of the offense. Eric Young, the 11-year veteran at second base, they rely an awful lot on his speed. 30 steals for the last 8 seasons. Royce Clayton, a Gold Glove caliber shortstop, comes over from the White Sox to add stability. And Ben Sheets, much like Matt Morris, a young starter that just in his 3rd year already making his 2nd opening day start. He shut out the Cardinals here in 2001, his only Major League shutout, and he'll be looking to repeat that performance here today at Busch.
And, of course, pitching a key to both of these ball clubs. The Cardinals, a much more veteran presence on the mound. They're without their closer right now, Jason Isringhausen. Ozzie Smith is here. Lou Brock is here. All the Cardinal greats. Opening day in St. Louis. A nice opening day in downtown St. Louis. Cardinals won 97 games a year ago. The Brewers only 56. And St. Louis was the runaway winner in the National League Central before falling in the playoffs to the Giants. Ned Yost, after 12 years with that winning organization in Atlanta, they won the division every year that he was a coach on Bobby Cox's staff. Talked to him yesterday, and the question was put, what will you be thinking about when you get out there with your lineup card on your debut day?
I'm thinking a lot of Bobby Cox, who I've been with for the last 12 years. I mean, I wouldn't be here with it if it wasn't for him. I'll be thinking a lot about Dale Earnhardt, who taught me a lot about being a competitor and what it takes to win and what it takes to be a champion every day. And I'll be thinking Teddy Simmons a lot, because Teddy took the time and the effort years ago to give me a bit of his knowledge on an everyday basis. Sometimes it was 20 minutes, sometimes it was 3 hours. We'd sit there and talk about baseball. So those three guys in particular are probably the biggest influences in my life as far as baseball goes.
And Buck Martinez, we have heard so far from the Milwaukee people, this man has had a pretty big influence on this club coming in new as well.
Well, he knows how to do it, and he mentioned three people that were very successful in their respective careers, and obviously Bobby Cox, a champion, has passed along a lot of his traits to Ned Yost. And Ted Simmons, the former Cardinal who went to Milwaukee and did so well for the Brewers, helped them play in the World Series against this Cardinal team in '82, and Ned Yost really thinks about the influence all three of those great character people have had on his career to this point.
Ned Yost hopes the Brewers lineup is a lot more productive than it was a year ago. Alex Sanchez with speed in center, Eric Young with speed behind him, and then a pretty solid middle of the order with power man Richie Sexson, John Vander Wal over from the Yankees, and Jeffrey Hemmons. Wes Helms and former Atlanta presence Eddie Perez, who was a catcher in Atlanta, of course, for many years, played at Cleveland last year. Royce Clayton, who played here in St. Louis for 3 years, and the starter Ben Sheets, who was an 11-game winner last season. Sanchez, how about the dimension he brings to the ball club as he takes on Matt Morris, who started 32 times last year, won 17, and one of the best pitchers in the league the last 2 years.
Well, 39 wins over the last couple of years, and he truly has all of the characteristics you like to see in your #1 starter. He wants the baseball. He wants to go out there and set the tone for the season. Early this morning, he told me, I'm really nervous about throwing strike one, but that's his pattern. Good fastball, very good curveball, and he's worked all spring long on improving his changeup. He wants the ball put into play. When you've got a defense like the Cardinals, you want it put into play. 4 Gold Glovers, Roland, Renteria, Vigna on the infield, Jim Edmonds with his 5th in center field. It was the first time any National League team had second, short, and third win the Gold Glove in one season.
And as recently as 3 years ago, Mike Matheny won a Gold Glove behind the plate. $50,000 on hand at Busch Stadium today. Alex Sanchez, a .289 batter a year ago, and he takes ball one from Matt Morris.
Sanchez is one of those speed players that really understands the true value of speed. He'll slap the ball toward the left side of the infield, shortens up to bunt. He makes the defense make adjustments. Look at Scott Rowland, well in front of the bag at third base. Renteria shortened up at short.
Last year, the Brewers were 13th in batting average of the 16 National League teams. They were last in runs, second last in homers, and they did have some speed, though. They stole 94 bases, and they should do so again. A pitch up, and it's sliced out of play left side.
Now, Sanchez hit but 1 home run last year, and he's flip-flopping the lineup. It was Eric Young doing the leading off most of the time last year, but now they have settled in on Sanchez, and they like his skills at the top of the order.
Big breaking ball bounced over the mound. Vigna has to hurry. Out on a close play.
Fernando Vigna with sure hands. We mentioned the Gold Glove. He comes in and unloads on a hurry. Very good at turning a double play, and those skills allowed him to make this play. Sanchez chops it right off home plate over Morris's head, and here comes Vigna, unloads in a hurry to get Sanchez. Can't waste any time. Quick transfer from the glove to the hand just in time.
Here's Eric Young. A guy who's tough to strike out. Only about a strikeout every 16 at bats, and a .288 career batter.
I asked him what he was going to look for against Morris. He said, I just look for a battle. He comes at you and never really gives you anything good to hit.
This ball in the air, left field line. A long run for 3 defenders, and Renteria is there. I'm not sure Albert Pujols would have gotten there, but Edgar Renteria, moving away from the infield, made a very good play. A little cloudy overhead. Temperatures expected to be in the 60s today. Considerably warmer than the 48-degree workout Buck and I witnessed here 24 hours ago.
Boy, it was cold here yesterday, cold and a blustery wind, but it's not like Baltimore, Bob.
Oh, my goodness. Nothing is like Baltimore right now. Here's Richie Sexson. And Morris gets him with that big breaking ball, and very quickly it's 0-2. Right-hander who had some first-inning problems last year. And this ball skied a mile high, right field line, right into the corner. And it's a foul ball. Last year, Matt Morris had some first-inning scuffles. Opponents hit .353 against him. From the second inning on, he was outstanding, only .243. So today, a 1-2-3 first inning could be huge for him.
Well, Bob, it's oftentimes that way for starters. They come into the game, they're trying to harness their emotions, settle into the feel of the game, and they can struggle in the first inning.
Trying to paint that outside corner. Matt Morris with a career record of 61-34 now. And a big breaking ball, and Sexson laid off it low. How about that career ERA, 3.18? You don't see that a whole lot anymore.
Well, he came out of Seton Hall highly touted as a collegiate pitcher, and Cardinals drafted him. He's already had Tommy John surgery and rebounded from that. Boy, he is really comfortable in this ballpark. Last 2 seasons, 16 games over 500. Second most wins in the majors at home.
3-2 pitch. He was not about to give in to Richie Sexson, was he? Had him 0-2, and then he nibbled the rest of the at-bat.
Yeah, he made up his mind that if Sexton wanted to chase that curveball, he'd throw it, get it in the dirt, keep it out of harm's way. Now he'll deal with John Vanderwall, a left-handed hitter. Basically, he won't be the cleanup hitter once Jeff Jenkins returns to the active roster. He's got a wrist injury right now.
Well, one of the best things the Brewers could do this year would be to keep Jeff Jenkins off the DL. He's been there 4 times in the last 3 years. John Vanderwall, meanwhile, for the Yankees last year, didn't get a whole lot of at-bats. Now, 3 years ago with the Pirates, he did. He was their everyday guy, and he hit 24 homers and drove in 94. And they basically got rid of him to make room for Derek Bell. Bouncer to Vina, and the Brewers are gone in the top of the first inning. Fernando Vina leads off. Renteria and Edmonds. A look at that powerful St. Louis lineup next. St. Louis was second in batting average, second in runs, third in homers. They can put numbers on the board. And as we look at Tony La Russa's lineup, you'll see table setters, you'll see power guys in the middle, and maybe the best young hitter in the game, Buck Martinez, in Albert Pujols.
Well, Albert Pujols, just in his 3rd full season, has certainly caught everybody's attention around baseball for his consistency. Hitting .300 each of his first 2 years, driving in 100, scoring 100, 30 home runs. They love his work ethic. He says, you know what, when I leave this game in 15 years, I want people to say, not only was he a great hitter, but he was a guy that worked every day, never really satisfied with being mediocre. He wanted to be the best, and he wants people to remember that Albert Pujols came here to be as good as he could possibly be.
Fernando Vina, pesky leadoff guy, and he faces the 11-game winner of last year, Ben Sheets.
Well, Sheets made 34 starts, won 11 games. This is his 2nd opening day. He beat Colorado a year ago on opening day. Good life on his fastball, a lot of sink. He has a good curveball and a changeup. 170 strikeouts in 216 2/3 innings.
Only 24 years of age. Won't be 25 until the middle of July. And those innings were an impressive number from last year. 34 starts. And with a better ball club, he's probably 16-11 as opposed to 11-16. Vina drags the bunt. And a very good play by Eric Young to throw him out.
Well, when you go to the chalkboard and say, I want to put down a bunt right toward the second baseman making play, that's where you want to bunt it. And Eric Young made an outstanding play. He couldn't use his glove. He knew he had the bare-handed. It was a do-or-die chance for Young, and he delivers. Perfect position for the bunt. He takes it just short of the grass and shovels to Richie Sexson in time to get Vigna. Fernando Vigna, one of the best bunters in all of baseball, and he is knocked out by a great play by his second base opponent.
And here's Edgar Renteria, a guy who broke into the major leagues as a teenager with the Marlins. He's really grown up here in St. Louis, posted career highs in almost every offensive category last year. Plus he won that Gold Glove.
Where you get 83 RBIs out of the second spot in your lineup, you know you've got a balanced attack. That means those guys at the bottom of the order are getting on base for you as well.
And Sheets ahead of him, 1-2. Working a little too quickly, Edgar stepped out. Jerry Crawford, the veteran crew chief, behind the plate today. And a breaking ball that was hanging up there. Renteria with the first base hit of this game.
Let's take a look at the Brewers defense in the outfield. Alex Sanchez with great speed. He's going to roam from gap to gap. Wes Helms finally gets an opportunity to return to his natural position at third base. Last year in Atlanta, he played first, third, left, and right. He bounced around, serving as a utility player for Bobby Cox, and he is much more comfortable returning to third base.
Half swing by Edmonds. Could be a double play. Eric Young turns it, and they got him at first. It took Edmonds forever to get out of the batter's box after that pitch inside. So the Brewers turn the double play. We're scoreless after one in St. Louis. How about that row of Hall of Famers? Bob Gibson, Stan Musial, and Red Schoendienst. And they watch Jeffrey Hammonds get a leadoff base hit, top of the second. Stan Musial, 81 years young.
Bob Gibson, of course, that tremendous career, Hall of Famer, and that great season he had here in '68. 1.12 ERA. Red Schoendienst, the manager for so many years here with the Cardinals. And, of course, Stan Musial, what a marvelous hitter he was throughout his career, and certainly an icon here in St. Louis.
Stan never fancied himself a home run hitter. He only hit 475. He said, I hit line drives. Sometimes they go out. And, of course, Bob Gibson, over 350 career wins. Wes Helms, formerly of the Braves, over to Milwaukee now to play third base after playing 85 games for Atlanta last year and hitting .243. Matt Morris off the stretch again. He walked Richie Sexson with 2 outs in the first. Scott Rowland charges what could be a double play, but no chance, as the speed of Hammonds took out Vigna at second base.
Well, Bob, you can talk all you want to about Gold Gloves and ability, and a lot has to do with your quickness and your arm strength and your hands, but judgment also is huge in that. Scott Rowland, watch this momentary bobble here at the end, but he still knows he has enough time to get the force at second. He takes that, and Vigna, knowing that he has no chance at all to turn 2, wisely elects not to make the relay throw. So they take that force out, keep the double play in order, but that's what makes a Gold Glover. Great judgment and great instincts.
And if you're starting to spot a trend here, another former Atlanta player, Eddie Perez, even though he was with the Indians last year, in there batting 7th and catching today. Perez, of course, known for years as being the personal catcher for Greg Maddux, an outstanding receiver.
And then just knowing that they have a lot of work to do to rebuild this organization, wanted to emphasize pitching and defense off the bat. And he brought Eddie Perez over here trying to enhance this young starting staff, give them some guidance from behind the plate. Perez basically served as a backup catcher to Javi Lopez all those years in Atlanta. And then in '99, when Lopez went down with an injury, Perez stepped up and was named the MVP in the championship series.
And a 3-0 pitch is right in there.
Ed Yost, the catcher himself, appreciates the value of having somebody back there that can guide his young pitchers through 9 innings.
And a ball bounce just outside third. Atlanta's pitching staff, of course, known for its greatness over the years. Milwaukee's last year was second worst to only Colorado's. The Brewers had a team ERA of 4.76. And Miller Park has been rather friendly to hitters its first couple of years as well. 3-2 with the runner going, and that ball dumped into right center. Over to third base, Wes Helms, and the Brewers have a corner situation with 1 out.
Now, a couple of guys you don't associate hit and run with. Wes Helms, not noted for his speed. Eddie Perez, the catcher, put the ball in play. Helms was on the move, and he moves to third base. There goes Helms. The pitch is down and away, and Perez gets enough of it to dump it in front of Eli Marrero in right field. Marrero bobbles the ball, but there was no chance for Helms to come around third and score.
And the number 8 hitter is Royce Clayton. Early ball game, Tony La Russa will play his infield back here. And Clayton rips one to left. Back goes Pujols, and the ball is into the bullpen. 3-0 Milwaukee. Royce Clayton played here for 3 years under Tony La Russa, replaced Ozzie Smith at shortstop, and he comes up with a big-time line drive right here.
Boy, nothing like making yourself feel a big part of the team by hitting a home run on opening day. That's his first hit opening day in 20 at-bats. He was 0 for 19 until this swing, and he jumps on a first pitch from Matt Morris and hits a 3-run home run to put Milwaukee on top 3-0. He was 0 for 19 opening day. You know he was anxious, had a game plan, probably slept at the hotel last night thinking, first pitch fastball, I'm jumping on it, and breaking that streak.
So Ben Sheets, his first at bat, he's now got a 3-run lead to work with. Matt Morris gave up only 16 home runs last year in 210 innings. And there's a drive that's foul outside first.
Clayton's 0 for 19 streak is history. That was the longest streak in the major leagues. And, you know, players will tell you, oh, I never look at the stat sheet, never read the newspaper. He knew he was 0 for 19.
Royce sporting those dreadlocks. He told us yesterday, just let them grow out. That's the way they naturally look. Got a new look and a new club and a 3-run homer. 2-2 pitch, and Sheets strikes out looking. First strikeout for Matt Morris. Royce Clayton came into the Cardinal system in '96 with Tony La Russa. And the big controversy was whoever played better in spring training, Royce Clayton or Ozzie Smith, would be the opening day shortstop. Ozzie out-hit Royce Clayton in spring training. Royce Clayton was the opening day shortstop. Ozzie was upset about it. The rift never has been repaired here in St. Louis, and Ozzie Smith retired after the end of that season.
Well, that's a tough situation for any manager when you have a soon-to-be Hall of Famer on your team and a young guy comes in and you like the athleticism of the young guy and you're trying to compare him to an idol and an icon here in the city. It's a difficult decision. Someone is always going to be upset in that situation.
Alex Sanchez sawed off on that foul ball. Well, the Milwaukee Brewers have had 10 consecutive losing seasons. That's what they call an emergency hack, and he was left with little wood. And the interesting thing about the Brewers and their 10 consecutive losing seasons, when the franchise started in 1969 as the Seattle Pilots, before becoming the Brewers, they started their history with 9 consecutive losing seasons. Ned Yost hoping to instill a whole new mindset up there in Milwaukee.
Well, he was there during the glory days of the Brewers. They played in this ballpark in 1982 against the Cardinals in the World Series.
And Matt Morris gets the inside corner to strike out Alex Sanchez. But a couple of hits and a line drive home run by Royce Clayton get the Brewers going. They put 3 on the board in the top of the second. 3-0 Milwaukee.
Trey Wingo here with you. Jim Thome with the Phillies, and they are very glad in his first at bat in Florida, an RBI double, scoring Bobby Abreu. Big things for Thome and the Phillies this year. Bob and Buck, back to you.
Thank you, Trey Wingo. A Philadelphia club that finished 21.5 games behind the Braves last year. And there's another city with a whole new baseball mindset right now. Here's Albert Pujols for the Cardinals in the second.
That's a great sign, bringing Jim Thome there. He certainly fits into that Philadelphia mindset.
Now, if they boo him, we know they're tough.
Oh, they will. They will. Speaking of fitting into the scenery, how about this guy? Does he look like a natural in this uniform, in this ballpark? Third year.
An amazing couple of seasons for young Albert Pujols. In his first 318 Major League games, he's driven in 257 runs.
Well, they call him the natural, and he talks about his ability to focus and really pick up the ball out of the pitcher's hand. Totally committed. He takes batting practice with a purpose. He takes outfield drills with a purpose. MVP voting a year ago, Barry Bonds said, I would have voted for Albert Pujols.
3-2 pitch.
You know, there are an awful lot of great players that have passed through here in St. Louis. They talk about memories of Orlando Cepeda, his ability to drive in tough runs.
Look at this at bat, hanging tough. And Pujols does something that Orlando Cepeda did a lot of. He will drive the ball from left center to right center and not always pull it. And that's what the Baby Bull was really known for.
Now they talk about comparisons to.
That's what you call working for a walk. Leadoff man aboard, and we check in with Trey Wingo.
All right, Bob. Bob, let's update you on what's going on at the Great American Ballpark, and none of this is great for Cincinnati. Reggie Sanders, former Red, deep out and gone, a 2-run shot. Just like that, it's 2-0 Pirates. Pittsburgh looks like they spent wisely in the offseason. Kenny Lofton, deep out and gone, a 3-run shot. It is 5-0 Pirates. Bob and Buck, Reds don't know what hit them.
Wow.
Boy, Lofton was a late sign in spring training. Randall Simons had a good year over there in the spring, and it looks like they've improved their ball club.
Well, Scott Rowland improved the Cardinals when he came over last year. It was a shame St. Louis didn't have him throughout the playoffs after the base running play injured him against Arizona.
His first postseason experience, and he was knocked out of the postseason in Game 2.
He drove in 44 runs in 55 games for St. Louis after coming over here from the Phils. 0-2 quickly. Scott Rowland, a .281 career hitter with 164 home runs. 4 Gold Gloves already. And a deep drive to left field. Vanderwall watching it, and at the track, he's got it.
It's a high fastball that Rowland tried to get on top of. With 2 strikes, he had to expand his strike zone, and Sheets will work the ball up in the zone. You can see it's high out of the zone. Tomahawk swing, but he didn't catch it all. Got underneath it a bit.
And the breeze is blowing toward left field. So if anything, it helped that ball a bit. But it came up a little short. Now Tino Martinez will bat. A left-handed hitter who got off to a slow start last year. He hit only 200 in April, but then 275 the rest of the way to finish at a respectable 262. Home run total of 21, RBIs mid-70s.
Well, he had a bad shoulder all year long and never really said anything about it, but he couldn't drive the ball.
And a guy who brings a lot of intangibles to your ball club, Buck.
Well, you talk about character. Look at this lineup, up and down the lineup, and Tino Martinez certainly is one of those guys you think about. I mean, the epitome of a team player. Does it on defense, does it at the plate. Great approach. Tony La Russa, Walt Jocketty, the general manager, they don't make too many mistakes when they bring players into this organization. Sure, they look at talent, but they also look at makeup and commitment.
2-1. Out of play left side.
Tino Martinez, of course, starting out in Seattle and going to the Yankees. But look at this. Most RBIs as a first baseman over the last 8 seasons. Only Jeff Bagwell of Houston has more RBIs than Tino Martinez. And Tino certainly doesn't get the respect he deserves for his consistency at driving in runs.
And number 5, who's not on that list, is a guy who hasn't played in 2 years.
He was pretty good, too.
Mark McGwire. 3-2. We'll see if La Russa starts Pujols here with 1 out. Down by 3 runs. And thinking that, Sheets takes a step off and Albert back to the bag where Dave McKay coaches over there for St. Louis. Double play guy here if you can get the ground ball. A runner going. And it's out of play left side.
Well, that's why you start Pujols, because Tino Martinez, a good contact hitter, will put the ball in play. Pujols, not a base stealer, but certainly you put him in motion and you have the potential of staying out of an inning-ending double play. But Tino is pretty encouraged by his spring. He was healthy. He said, you know, I drove the ball to left center, and that's always a good sign.
Runner had a good jump and a foul straight back. Tino hit 288 in the spring, drove in 9 runs. A much better start than he had last year. And of course, Albert Pujols is paid to drive in runs, not take 90 feet at a time.
No, you're not going to jeopardize possible injury by starting him an awful lot.
He's running again. And straight back it goes, and Albert's getting a workout.
Okay, Tino, anytime you want to, you can hit one fair.
Milwaukee infield from third over to second, kind of bunched up the middle here. And the runner going, a breaking ball hit foul as Tino was way out ahead of that one.
Even things as trivial as in a bat like this, certainly a good sign for Tino Martinez. He fouled off the changeup on that last pitch. He's fouled off some tough pitches inside from Ben Sheets. Got good coverage. He's obviously just trying to keep this bat alive and hope Sheets makes a mistake.
10th pitch of the at-bat. And a drive way long and way foul off the facing of the upper deck.
A healthy Tino Martinez in the midst of this lineup certainly will be bad news for the rest of the National League. This National League Central is going to be hotly contested. And when you have a lineup like this off the facing of the upper deck, just foul.
3-2 again. This one hit fair over the mound. Eric Young to first. And that'll have Albert Pujols at second base with 2 down. Opening day presented by the Home Depot continues on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Derek Jeter, Jason Giambi, and the Yankees begin their season in Toronto against Carlos Delgado and the Blue Jays. And at 10 Eastern, catch all the opening day highlights on Baseball Tonight. Roger Clemens and Roy Halladay our opening night pitching matchup up there in Toronto.
Roy Halladay really had a breakthrough season a year ago. 19 wins, 293 earned run average. Of course, Roger Clemens 7 wins away from 300.
Here's Eli Marrero, who's going to be a very intriguing player for St. Louis this year. No longer considered just a catcher, in fact more of an outfielder. Tony La Russa basically has his backup catcher playing right field on almost an everyday basis until they get J.D. Drew back. That is a foul ball just outside the bag.
Jose Oquendo, the third base coach, is going to go down and have a chat with Bill Cousy, because Bill's standing right there, and Oquendo says, you know, that ball hit right behind the bag, and I thought it was a fair ball. And he said, yeah, I had a good look at it. Oquendo's pretty certain that he saw it right, but you can see the umpire had a pretty good position. Waves it foul.
And the count quickly 0-2. Marrero, a free swinger. You may not have to throw him a strike here to strike him out like that. Cardinals are gone in the second after Pujols walked to lead off. And on the Royce Clayton homer, 3-0 Brewers. A Busch Stadium, St. Louis. Eric Young, the batter. He's taken a ball and a strike. Shadows creeping now between home plate and the pitcher's mound here at 3:48 local time in St. Louis, Missouri. Eric Young hits the ball pretty far to left center. Edmonds watching it fly into the bleachers. And it's 4-0 Milwaukee. Eric Young, who hit 3 home runs all of last year.
Prior to today, Matt Morris had allowed only 22 home runs at Busch Stadium. Today, the Brewers have hit 2. Royce Clayton, a 3-run home run, and now Eric Young, a leadoff home run to give Milwaukee a 4-0 lead. They had an idea to be aggressive against Morris. Look for that first pitch strike. Look for fastball out over the plate. Young, I told you he had only 3 home runs a year ago.
His 59th career home run in 12 years. Richie Sexson is up next. 1 ball, 1 strike to him. So the Brew Crew. They look like Harvey's wall bangers out here so far today. The club that played the Cardinals in the '82 World Series, lost in 7. Ned Yost a part of that. And the 1-2 from Matt Morris. Sexson was fooled that he never took the bat off his shoulder. Third strikeout for Morris, who has fanned 3 of the last 4 hitters, all looking. How about that big fly he hit late in September in 1982 at Fenway Park?
Well, Ned Yost gets shot off of Mark Clear high over the wall for the Brewers to clinch. And he certainly has a lot of great memories of that particular group of players. Ted Simmons, we heard his thoughts about Simmons earlier, how much he influenced his career, not only as a player, but now as a coach and ultimately as a manager.
That home run helped them win the National League East title. They beat the then California Angels in 5 games in the ALCS. They won game 1 here in St. Louis 10-0 when Ted Simmons hit a couple of home runs, but then lost the series to Whitey Herzog's Cardinals 4-3. And a 3-0 pitch. Matt Morris just walked John Vanderwall on 4. That's his second pass of the day.
Well, Ned Yost was in camp when I was with the Brewers in 1978, my first year in Milwaukee, and you could see he had an awful lot of energy there as a young player, and he ultimately made it up to Milwaukee in '81, and then became kind of a backup player with Ted Simmons as the catcher. Charlie Moore moved from behind the plate into right field.
And a high fly ball right center from the bat of Jeffrey Hammonds. Jim Edmonds makes the call and calls off Eli Marrero for the second out. Edmonds not 100% yet, still playing with a bit of an injury bug out of spring training, but well enough to be in the lineup today.
Well, there was some doubt that he was going to play in center field, and Tony La Russa thought about playing him in right, but then had second thoughts when he felt that Edmonds is much more comfortable in his natural center field and didn't want to jeopardize the possibility of re-injuring that left calf muscle that he hurt early in March.
And he may not play 9 innings today either. Take it 5 or 6 and see how he feels. Here's Wes Helms. scored a run ahead of the Royce Clayton 3-run homer last inning. Matt Morris going with that breaking ball again, and it's 0-2. Well, it is the 31st of March. The Cubs are in first place in the Central. The Expos are in first place in the East, Buck.
And Glavine and Maddox both had tough starts on opening day.
Wow. Cubs get 15 at Shea, and the Expos get 10 at Turner Field.
And both Maddox and Glavine gave up 4 runs in the first inning.
Well, somebody somewhere is saying, wait, just wait for the Cubs. They'll swoon in April. Well, that's not till tomorrow, and they should enjoy what they accomplished today.
And I don't think you can take the Cubs lightly this year.
You like them, don't you?
Oh, I sure do. They got some great young arms in their staff. Dusty Baker over to manage. And certainly, I think he's going to improve their chance. It's a tough division.
That's a high third inning pitch count for Matt Morris. I was talking to Andy Benes yesterday, whose younger brother Alan is still in the Cubs organization. He said Alan threw the ball well in spring training, but they had only 1 spot open, 5 guys going for it, and that's how good the Cubs staff is looking right now. And a base hit up the middle by Wes Helms. Over to third base with 2 outs, John Vanderwall.
Well, Wes Helms gets his first hit as a Milwaukee Brewers, and the opportunity to play every day is certainly something he's looking forward to. But again, Ned Yost starting the runner, and you got the chance to move him along, and Helms puts it in play and go first to third.
And a chance for Eddie Perez with 2 outs here to really do some damage to the Cardinals. He got that hit and run base hit that set up the 3-run rally last inning. This time he flies the ball to left. Albert Pujols is under it. And the Brewers will strand a couple. Leadoff homer, though, by Eric Young, and after 2.5, 4-0 Milwaukee. Opening day presented by the Home Depot here on ESPN2. St. Louis, Busch Stadium. It's all Brewers so far. They've roughed up Matt Morris. Buck Martinez alongside. I'm Bob Carpenter. Cardinals in the bottom of the third. Lead off with their catcher, Mike Matheny. Outstanding defensive receiver, former Gold Glove winner, who actually played for the Brewers before coming here to St. Louis, with some time in Toronto. 1 year there in '99, his 4th year with the Cardinals.
When Matheny first came up with Milwaukee, he was a highly regarded prospect. Everybody recognized him as somebody that really took pitching to heart and tried to get the best out of his pitcher on a particular day. For his career, he's thrown out 33% of the runners. That's an outstanding number. Consistent, very solid behind the plate. Matt Morris told me this morning that sometimes he feels bad when he doesn't pitch well because it'll make Mike Matheny feel bad. He says, I hate to let him down because he really wants the pitchers to have success.
2-2. You know, when Matheny in 2000 and 2001 was playing his best defense, he was throwing out base runners in the mid-40% range.
Yeah,
I mean, Pudge Rodriguez type numbers.
Very, very quick, very accurate arm.
And a 3-2 pitch had him reaching. A little flare to center. Rushing in to get it, Alex Sanchez.
Now, Sanchez broke back on that ball. You could see him smile and say, whoops, almost made a mistake, but he has the speed to cover up that initial jump. Watch the swing from Matheny. Sanchez breaks back and then recognizes it's hit off the end of the bat, and he has to utilize that great speed to close the gap and make the catch.
Here's the pitcher, Matt Morris. Matt, a 161 career hitter with 17 RBIs. That's what he did last year. He's a very good athlete, runs the bases well. Tony La Russa and Dave Duncan, their pitchers work on bunting and things in the cage probably as much as any staff in baseball. That ball is very well hit, and it's over the head of Jeffrey Hammonds. Matt Morris will cruise into second with the Cardinals' first extra base hit of the day.
got a pitch up in the zone, and he just went with it. Jeffrey Hammonds was playing shallow in right field, and the ball sailed over his head all the way to the wall in right. That ball belts high. You can see he just goes with the pitch. It was outside. He just stays on it and drives it over the head of the Brewers' right fielder. Hammonds very shallow and has to play it off the wall. By the time he gets it back in, Morris is at second.
With his 9th career double. Here's Fernando Vina. Strike one to him.
Off to a great start.
He's ahead of his pace from last year. 1 ball and 1 strike to a player you would refer to as a pepper pot, a throwback kind of leadoff guy.
Think he could have played on the Gas House gang?
He would have fit right in with those guys back in the late 20s, early 30s in St. Louis. He's been hit by 141 pitches in his major league career. 31 more than his stolen base total, by the way.
Yeah, he likes the responsibility of getting on base and setting the table for this potent lineup.
The 1-2 delivery. Up and away, and that evens the count. But Fernando Vina, of all the things he's accomplished in his career, he told me that the thing that gave him the greatest pride was that first Gold Glove in 2001. Then he got another one. And he looks it all the way in, ball 3. Count goes full. Edgar Renteria is next. And he's the kind of guy who can foul off a bunch of pitches as well.
Well, you mentioned the Gold Glove, and Vina is a tough hitter at the plate as well. Strikeout rate for his career, 16.7 at bats per strikeout with a minimum of 2,000 plate appearances. We got 2 of the toughest guys in baseball to strike out here today.
And Vina flies one to left. They play him near the line, so it's an easy run for John Vanderwall, and that's the second out here in the 3rd. Major League Baseball doubleheader coming your way Wednesday night on ESPN2 at 7 Eastern. Sammy and the Cubs continue their series with Mo Vaughn and the Mets. Some of you get the Expos and the Braves. 10 Eastern, Ichiro and the Mariners meet reigning American League MVP Miguel Tejada and the A's. Wednesday night baseball on ESPN2, and Sammy on the verge of some more history.
499 home runs last night. A-Rod hit his 299th. A lot of milestones not far off in the future of baseball, and Sammy Sosa certainly will hit his 500th very soon.
I'll tell you what impressed me today about Sammy, that first at bat. He levels off and hits a double to right center, gets the Cubs going. They score 15 runs at New York. Dusty Baker will do that to you. He'll have that effect on you, make you a better ball player.
Now, Dusty's got so much enthusiasm, and it spreads throughout the ball club. And 10 years in San Francisco, a great run there, and certainly he leaves on a high note.
Ben Sheets goes 3-0 on Edgar Renteria. And the problem you have here is the guy waiting next if you lose this batter. And here comes Jim Edmonds. In a 4-0 ball game, things could tighten up in a hurry. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. It's opening day on ESPN2, presented by the Home Depot. It's the Brewers and the Cardinals. Bob Carpenter and Buck Martinez as we get things going here in 2003. A 3-run homer by Royce Clayton in the 2nd, a solo by Eric Young in the 3rd. And now Mike Maddox to the mound.
Well, Mike Maddox is in his first year as Major League pitching coach. He's Greg Maddox's brother, and you can bet he knows an awful lot about pitching, and he talks about command and changing speeds and throwing strikes. He was at Double-A Round Rock in the Houston organization last year, and the big thing about Maddox is he's got an awful lot of young, talented pitchers, but now he is trying to massage them into the next level of success.
20 of those pitches in this inning for Ben Sheets. And Jim Edmonds, who is a little rusty, really. He only played 5 games in the spring, really only 8 official at-bats, other than all the time he put in the cage and elsewhere. But he's a guy who can do some heavy damage in April and May. His last 3 Aprils, he's hit .378. Ground ball right side. Eric Young is behind it. And over to Richie Sexson. The Cardinals are gone in the 3rd. They strand a couple. They've left 3. 4-0 Brewers. St. Louis, Missouri, opening day presented by the Home Depot. The Eagleton Federal Building, right looking down into Busch Stadium. Top of the 4th, Royce Clayton the batter. One swing of the bat by this former Cardinal. Silenced this crowd 2 innings ago as Clayton hit a 3-run homer. This time he's reaching for a Matt Morris breaking ball, and he's out to start the 4th. That'll bring up Ben Sheets. And it's always interesting, Buck, to watch how a young pitcher reacts when his teammates give him an early lead, and Ben Sheets has reacted very well.
Well, the thing about Ben Sheets, they believe he's got great makeup, a lot of competitive spirit to go along with a fine assortment of pitches. But you're right, that's a good barometer. You know, you give a guy a lead and see what he's going to do with it. If he gets defensive trying to protect it, or if he gets aggressive trying to wrap it up, take advantage of it.
And he won 11 games last year, as we said, playing for one of the poorest teams in baseball. The Brewers lost 106 games last year, and his run support was 2nd lowest in the league. He had an ERA that's respectable at 4.15 last year.
The thing that Sheets recognizes is they've got a lot of work to do, and it's a matter of everybody in the clubhouse, manager, coaches, players, all pulling together trying to turn the thing around.
And a called strike as Matt Morris paints the knees. Matt Morris, the headliner of what is a veteran St. Louis rotation, Buck, but a few question marks at the same time.
Well, the rotation obviously headed up by Matt Morris, then Woody Williams, 9-4 with a very good ERA. Garrett Stevenson healthy again, and they like him in that 3 spot. Brett Tomko has been a mystery for a while, but they think that he is going to have a good year. And the 5th guy in that mix is Jason Simon Tachi, who came up last year and won 11 games down the stretch. And Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, really has a good core of starters, and certainly headed by an outstanding young ace in Matt Morris. One concern on the pitching staff here is that the right-handed relief corps. They only have 11 relief appearances out of the right-handers in their bullpen currently. And that's a concern for Dave Duncan and Tony La Russa.
Interesting bunch down there. Off the glove of Morris, out to Vigna. And Matt Morris finally gets a 1-2-3 inning on the ground out by Alex Sanchez. After 3.5, 4-0 Brewers. Brewers on top of the Cardinals 4-0. Albert Pujols for St. Louis, bottom 4, followed by Scott Rowland and Tino Martinez. Pujols worked for a walk first time up. Fouled off 5 pitches. And this one up the middle. Playing that way was Eric Young.
Now, these teams have such great scouting reports, and they've got a history. They played 17 games against each other last year. Brewers were 10-7. Excuse me. The Cardinals were 10-7 against Milwaukee. And take a look at the defense. There's Young shaded up the middle. Ball goes right over the mound just behind the bag at second, and Young's experience playing against Albert Pujols allowed him to take away that base hit.
Next up is Scott Rowland, and Sheets starts him off with a strike. That's low and outside. 2 balls, 1 strike.
In his first at bat, Rowland chased a high fastball with 2 strikes and flied to the warning track in left. I mention this because Ben Sheets, just in his 3rd full season, really pays attention to hitters and how he gets them out and what they might be looking for, and he's got some areas where he knows he can exploit this rotation or this lineup, and that time he tried to go upstairs again, but walks for them.
3rd walk of the day by Ben Sheets, who's only given up 2 hits, 1 of them to the pitcher Matt Morris. So the Cardinals have 1 on, 1 out, bottom 4 for Tino Martinez.
This lineup never really allows you to take a break. Ben Sheets is well aware that 1 through 9 in this order can do some damage and get back in the ball club at any point. Eddie Perez, look at right out from behind the plate. He has thrown 3 consecutive pitches up out of the strike zone, and Perez wanted to draw attention to Ben Sheets, saying, hey, we got to work down in the zone a little bit more now.
15 batters. He's thrown first pitch strikes to 10 of them so far. That one sails up and away, ball 2, and now a visit from Eddie Perez.
Well, here's the value of an experienced catcher. When a pitcher is missing in the same area, you've got to remind him how to get back down in the zone. So Perez calls time, goes out and has a discussion with him. Mike Maddox, a first-year pitching coach, certainly understands the value of command, and he wants Sheets to work down in the zone a little more effectively.
2-0 here. Hitting room right side with the runner being held. Fly ball right field. Heading for the bullpen. And this is a 4-2 game. Ben Sheets started falling behind hitters, and Tino Martinez made him pay for it.
You just can't pitch from behind against the potent lineup. First home run of the season for Tino Martinez. We talked about him being healthy and being encouraged by his spring, and he connects for his 2nd career home run against Ben Sheets and cut the lead in half.
Looks like they want a curtain call on opening day. Tino gives it to him. A sea of red is what they called this in St. Louis, with everybody dressing up. And the 0-1 now to Eli Marrero is up high. Cardinals hit 175 home runs last year. Only the Cubs and the Giants hit more. Chicago hit 200, the Giants 198.
Now Eric Young, the second baseman, is going to come in and try to get Ben Sheets back into a good approach. Consistently missing up in the strike zone, flirting with danger. Pitches up out over the plate that hitters can really take a swing at. Ed Yost talking with his pitching coach, Mike Maddox. Much better pitch there. Late movement on the fastball.
Eli Marrero, another guy who set a lot of career highs last year. He hit 18 home runs, drove in 66, played a lot in the outfield. And the 2-2 here. Got him reaching. Second out of the inning. And the second strikeout of the day by Ben Sheets. We're going to continue opening day tonight, presented by the Home Depot here on ESPN2. Derek Jeter and the Yankees will open up in Toronto. Jason Giambi will be there. Carlos Delgado and the Blue Jays await. Roger Clemens and Roy Halladay, your opening night pitching matchup. And then, of course, at 10 Eastern, all the opening day highlights on baseball tonight. And the international flavor of the Yankees gets a little hotter.
Hideki Matsuri, the great power hitter, play left field for the Yankees. He had an outstanding spring. Real polished hitter, lots of power.
Mike Matheny, the batter, and a fly ball to left. So Sheets will battle back and get the last two after walking at Scott Rowland and giving up a 2-run homer to Tino Martinez. We've played 4 on opening day in St. Louis here on ESPN2. A day of home runs. It's now a 4-2 game. brain trust for the Brewers, GM Doug Melvin on your left, and a gentleman you know very well from Toronto, Gord Ash, his assistant.
Gord Ash is the assistant general manager to Doug Melvin, and Gord hired me as the manager for the Toronto Blue Jays, and then he was let go after 2001 season. But these two guys are fast friends. They've vacationed together in the past. They know baseball. They've been around Melvin with the Rangers and the Orioles previous positions. He worked with Pat Gillick in the Yankee system, as did Gord Ash when Gillick was the general manager in Toronto. Gord was the assistant GM from '89 to '94 during the heyday of the Blue Jays. And they make a pretty effective team, and they've got a lot of goals that they want to accomplish, and it gets back to the farm system and establishing a new look. Doug Melvin, Ulice Payne is the president CEO, just put into place in Milwaukee, and Ned Yost, former Brewer player, returns as their manager.
And a one bouncer over to Scott Rowland. Gone is Eric Young. Ulice Payne, by the way, an old Marquette guy. Goes back to their 1977 National Championship club of Al McGuire. I called Tom Crean today to wish him well on his Final Four appearance coming up this weekend. They were on the floor practicing, couldn't get through to the coach, but I tell you, at Marquette and in the city of Milwaukee right now, there's a lot of great excitement about college basketball, and they should be pleased with what their baseball team looks like coming out of spring training as well. Richie Sexson, the batter.
Ulice Payne is obviously an icon in Milwaukee, and he's somebody that knows the city very well. And the Brewers' longtime broadcaster just announced to the Hall of Fame Bob Uecker actually called Marquette games when Ulice Payne was playing there. So they have a long-standing relationship.
And a foul tip. If a Marquette player threw up an air ball, I wonder if Bob said just a little bit off the rim.
Just a little off the rim. Well, he's very pleased about going into the Hall of Fame.
Bob Uecker, of course, played here in St. Louis on the Cardinals' 1964 World Championship team with another broadcaster here in the ballpark, Mike Shannon. Sexton hits one to deep short. Scooped by Renteria. Got him. There's a Gold Glove play.
And he knew that he had a little bit of time, as Sexton takes a long time to get out of the batter's box at 6-7. But Renteria deep in the hole. This looks like it's going to be a base hit through the infield. Rowland can't get to it. There's Renteria with a foot on the grass. Watch him plant and fire all in one motion. Great arm strength right on the money to Tino Martinez.
Well, there's been a momentum switch in this ball game. Matt Morris has retired 6 batters in a row. Tino Martinez, a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 4th, and a 4-0 game has become 4-2 in a hurry. And Matt Morris is now cruising. He faces John Vanderwall here. That ball well hit. Slicing away from Pujols, and he still got it. That was a tough play. 1-2-3 go the Brewers. Halfway through, 4-2 Milwaukee. Matt Morris leads off, bottom of the 5th for the Cardinals. With 1 out in the 3rd, he rocked a double to right field. 1 of 3 St. Louis hits on the day. 4-2 Brewers as we enter the second half of this game. Both pitchers working quickly, working efficiently at the moment. And I don't think he'll see any more belt-high fastballs after what he did last time up there.
Sheets is pitching him tough this time, throwing 2 curveballs and 3 pitches. And he threw another one. That's what those long doubles to the opposite field will do. Matt Morris leading the world in hitting right now.
On a pace to break Mark Grace's doubles record. That could change here, though, in the next offering. The 2-2 pitch. Upstairs, ball 3. This ball is well hit to right field. Chasing Hammond's back, and on the track, he's got it. 1 out, bottom 5. We'll check in with Trey Wingo.
All right, Bob and Buck, Matt Morris may someday have a hitting streak the likes of Luis Castillo had last year. However, hopefully defensively he'll be better than Luis Castillo was on this day. Jimmy Rollins right through the wickets with the bases loaded. 2 runs come in, making it 6-0. Phillies look good, Bob and Buck.
Well, we like those Phillies coming out of spring training. They don't really need that kind of help, though.
Well, Larry Bowa was concerned with this ball club's offense at the end of the spring. They didn't hit much. In fact, they got no hit by Tampa Bay right at the end of the spring training.
First pitch grounder. Richie Sexson can't handle it. And it should be a base hit for Fernando Vina. Ball hit sharply. Hometown scorer. And as I say that, the scorer says, no, sir, it's going to be an error.
Well, Richie Sexson allowed that ball to play him. He took a step back, and then he lost his balance and position, and the ball kind of handcuffed him. Watch his step back. Right there, that cost him. He's trying to play it off his back leg. You got to come after that ball. It's going to be a tricky hop, but if you come after it, you eliminate that nasty hop at the end.
1-on-1 out. Edgar Renteria next. First pitch swinging. A lot of Cardinals going up hacking early now. And it's caught by Royce Clayton for the second out. Let's talk about the Milwaukee rotation. Ben Sheets, of course, is the headliner. Then a veteran left-hander, Glendon Rush. And Buck, what about the rest of the Brewers?
Well, we talk about a young staff trying to gel. Todd Ritchie has really thrown the ball well. He got good velocity, and they think that he is going to break through. Wayne Franklin's an interesting guy. They picked him up from Houston a year ago. They like his potential for strikeouts. And Matt Kinney has a good arm, and obviously he's going to get a chance to establish himself in that Yost rotation.
Jim Edmonds with a base hit. 3 consecutive batters swinging at the first pitch. First and second, 2 outs. Albert Pujols the batter, and the ball off of Sexton's glove could be terribly costly to the Brewers here in the 5th inning.
Well, you just get down into the heart of the order. You should make the outs that they give you, and that's going to elicit a visit to the mound from Mike Maddox, the pitching coach. Going to give Ben Sheets a chance to regroup after that rocket was hit right back over the mound by Edmonds, and it's as though Edmonds' day is done. We talked about his strained calf, and there is Kerry Robinson, who comes on as a pinch runner. Edmonds had a strained calf throughout the spring. It was doubtful whether he would play in this game, but after that 2-out base hit, Tony La Russa decides to get him out of the game and get a healthy Kerry Robinson in there to run at first base. He represents the tying run.
Kerry Robinson was the last Cardinal to make the team yesterday. They had a choice between him and right-handed hitting outfielder So Taguchi. And the fact that Robinson's a lefty was probably the deciding factor. He did not have a very good spring. Here's Pujols. They're not holding any of the runners, playing behind both Robinson at first and Vina. Any ball to the gap will tie this game. Kerry Robinson can fly. 2-2. And that's the second baseman, Young, sneaking in behind Vina.
Well, Perez recognized that Vina took an extra step on the big swing from Albert Pujols, and Young alertly broke in toward the bag at second, but Vina was able to get back.
Tying run at first base, bottom of the 5th. And Pujols with a base hit to left field. Vina around third, and it's now a 4-3 game.
This lineup just wears on you. They get a little break by the 1-out error. Richie Sexson allowing Vina's ball to sneak through the infield. And then Edmonds delivers a single, and that brings up the RBI guy, and Pujols really concentrates, gets on top of that high fastball, pulls it through the left side of the infield.
Boy, how quick is that bat?
RBI guys have a tendency of expanding their hitting area when there's a chance to drive in runs, and that's what Pujols did right there.
Unearned run because of the error by Richie Sexson on the ball hit by Vina. Now runners at first and second, 2 outs. Tying run out there at second. And Scott Rowland could make this inning really hurt. He's fly deep to left, walked and scored. Activity in the Milwaukee bullpen.
Left-handed Shane Nance, right-handed Curtis Desconic, who has really come back from arm problems, throwing the ball well.
Fastball in there. Less than 5 innings of work and 90 pitches for Sheets.
This lineup will make you work. They have a very good approach. Mitchell Page, the hitting coach here in St. Louis, reminds the hitters each and every day of who they're facing, what the best approach will be against them, and then those veteran hitters put it to good use.
Mitchell Page, an old Oakland guy, goes back a long way with Tony La Russa, as does a lot of his coaching staff like Dave Duncan and Dave McKay. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Scott Rowland. Key point in this ball game, bottom of the 5th inning. Busch Stadium, St. Louis, where the Cardinals last year were 52-29. Today they battled the Milwaukee Brewers, who once led 4-0. It's now 4-3. And Kerry Robinson represents the tying run at second base. 2-2 pitch. Rowland flies short to right center. Jeffrey Hammonds is there, and the Cardinals will settle for 1 unearned run. After 5 on opening day, it's now 4-3.
Raybestos. Have your brakes checked every year and ask for Raybestos, the best in brakes.
Matt Morris back to work here, top of the 6th inning. Jeffrey Hammonds with a flare out to right center. Vigna and Marrero collide. Did they hold on? Yes.
Boy, this is something you hate to see any time, but Marrero, who's had a tough spring to begin with, he was sick throughout most of the spring, and Tony La Russa very reluctantly walks out of the dugout.
And that's his backup catcher.
Absolutely. That's the concern that he's had with this. Right in no man's land, Marrero coming hard from right field, Vigna going out from second base, and they collided, and it looks as though there's an awful lot of pain. I have to speculate what kind of injury he may have suffered.
Eli Marrero had a lot of stomach problems during the spring. Had to fly back and forth between Jupiter, Florida and St. Louis on several occasions. And that's Mark O'Neill on your right, Barry Weinberg on your left, the Cardinal trainers.
Take a look at Vigna coming. Here comes Marrero. They slide together. They crash very hard. Marrero immediately grabbed toward his right hip. Tough to tell where he might have gotten hit. Looked as though Vigna's left knee may have hit Marrero's right hip. But he holds on to the ball. He's got the ball in his glove. Oh, he's in a lot of pain, Bob.
And I didn't think something like this could come to fruition so quickly. But a conversation you and I had with Tony La Russa before the game, when he was crowing about a young Double-A catcher they have by the name of Yadier Molina, who they would call up in a heartbeat because he is so good if anything would happen to Mike Matheny or Eli Marrero. Eli Marrero, a very mentally tough kid. He battled his way through thyroid cancer almost 5 years ago that cost him a good part of the '98 season, and it's good to see him up and moving around.
Ned Yost had gone out to talk with the second base umpire, Larry Poncino, as to whether or not, in fact, Marrero caught the ball.
He has been credited with the putout.
Yost lost his first argument. Take a look at Marrero coming from right field. Vigna slides. Marrero makes the catch, but it looked as though Vigna's left knee may have slammed into Marrero's right thigh. Looks like he's going to stay in the game. Barry Weinberg, the head trainer, insisting on Marrero being forthright, letting him know, in fact, if he feels like he can stay in. La Russa Very concerned, obviously, but Marrero's going to jog in the outfield now.
Well, even the team physician, George Paletta, was on the field. 2 trainers and a doctor. Let's go back quickly for an update. Here's Trey Wingo.
All right, Bob and Buck, let's get you updated on a former Cardinal, Brian Jordan. Randy Johnson trying to win his 5th straight Cy Young, and Jordan trying to do his best to make sure that doesn't happen. A frozen rope to left brings in Sean Green, and at the Bob, it is the Dodgers with the early 1-0 lead. Bob and Buck, back to you, of course.
Thank you, Trey Wingo. Cardinals have a lot of disabled Redbirds right now, including Joe Girardi, who may have a career-threatening neck problem.
Girardi's got a ruptured disc in his back, and it's a bone fragment pressing against his spine. And Joe Girardi talking with Woody Williams in the dugout, certainly very concerned about that injury. And it cropped up very late in the spring, and he was playing in a game and felt a pain in his back, and then he felt it around the side in his lat muscle, and he thought it was just a muscle pull, but it didn't go away. And before the game was over, he had a tough time breathing. They immediately got an MRI and identified the problem as a bone fragment in the middle of his back pressing up against his spine. There is a possibility that it may dissolve on its own, but if it doesn't, and if it stays in there, Girardi's career as a player might be over. Another example of character, the guy they brought in as a free agent, signing him from Chicago. Of course, Girardi enjoying a great run with the Yankees.
Joe Girardi, a Midwest guy from up in Jim Tomey's neighborhood, Peoria, Illinois. 3-2 pitch, and a bouncer by Wes Helms out to short for Edgar Renteria. Matt Morris has retired. 9 consecutive batters now. Wednesday night, a Major League Baseball doubleheader coming your way on ESPN2. 7 Eastern, Sammy and the Mets. And later on, it's Tejada and the A's against the Mariners. Ichiro Suzuki, a part of that West Coast offense. You'll see lots of baseball coming your way on Wednesday nights. This year, we got a great doubleheader for you. Some of you will get the Expos and the Braves in the early game. Wednesday night baseball on ESPN2.
Well, in Seattle, Bob Melvin, another first-year manager, looking to get that team off to a good start.
Deep short, Renteria scoops it from Eddie Perez. All the momentum with St. Louis now, as Matt Morris has cruised through the last 3. 10 straight, he's down by just 1. Pleased with Ned Yost's first pitching decision.
Well, that's the aspect of being a manager. It's not real pleasant, but it's something Ned Yost felt like he had to do. He took Sheets out of the game after 5 innings. He'd thrown 90 pitches. And with Tino Martinez leading off for the Cardinals here in the bottom of the 6th, he's called upon Shane Nance, young left-hander, to come on and start the inning. Nance is an interesting young left-hander, and he was picked up from the Dodgers a year ago when they traded Tyler Houston to L.A. Left-hander made 4 appearances for Milwaukee when he came over in September, 6 1/3. He has the ability to get the strikeout, but he also has a pretty good changeup that will be effective against right-handed hitters. So that's why he can come in this situation. After facing Martinez, he'll deal with Eli Marrero.
That would be a tough pitch to hang in against if you're a left-handed batter.
Little 3/4 delivery, a little breaking ball on the outer part of the plate.
Tino Martinez, a 2-run homer last time up. Counts even 1-1 on a cloudy day in St. Louis. Temperature in the 60s, very comfortable for opening day here. As the Cardinals and the Brewers get it going here in the National League Central. He got jammed, and he got a hit out to center. Tino Martinez 2 for 3 today.
A bloop and a blast. He hit the blast, a 2-run shot in his last at bat. This time he bloops one into center to start the Cardinals' 6th. Shane Nance gets the ball inside. Martinez hits it off the end of the bat, draws his hands in, but still gets enough of the ball to dump it into center field.
That's the tying run aboard, leading off bottom 6. Now the right-handers Buck mentioned. First up, Eli Marrero, then Mike Matheny. This ball is hit well out to right center. Chasing Alex Sanchez near the track, and he's got it for the first down. 5 innings on opening day for Ben Sheets. Buck, you mentioned the pitch mark around 90.
Yeah, a little elevated in the pitch count, and just given where the Cardinals had really caught up to Sheets in the last couple of innings. Ned Yost made the change. Sheets is the pitcher of record, going 5 innings with 5 hits. He walked 3. Uncharacteristically, generally he's a little more consistently in the zone.
Okay, Mr. Manager, does a little motivation come into effect there? He wants him to leave the game when he has a chance to pick up that W on opening day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You see him, he's struggling a bit. His pitch count's elevated. The Cardinals are starting to get on him a bit. Tino Martinez hit a 2-run home run. They scored the 3rd run, and you take him out of the game, you give him a chance for a W, and instead of sending him back out there seeing if he can get through another inning or so, you take him out, he can win the game, and he leaves with a positive thought.
Well, this inning would have been his last because the pitcher spot is due up second in the top of the 7th. So Ned Yost in his debut as manager having to make a critical pitching call here today. Mike Matheny is 0 for 2 with a couple of fly balls, and he takes one inside.
Well, one thing the Brewers feel that they have is a fairly decent bullpen. So they think that they can mix and match. They've got 3 left-handers in their pen. They've got Mike DeJong to close it. Curtis Lescanic, as I mentioned earlier, is healthy again. So they think that they can close out some games. Remember, they don't have a juggernaut offensive ball club, so they're going to have to do a lot of mixing and matching with this bullpen. Luis Vizcaino, Valerio De Los Santos down there in the pen, and there's some guys that can get some outs late in the game.
2-0 count here. And Matheny was trying to hop all over a pitch. He thought he could drive the other way. Pitcher on deck. Matt Morris is in the on-deck circle. Matt Morris has been great at home over the years, winning 2 games in this ballpark for every one he's ever lost. And he's still in this thing. He has battled his way back. His teammates have gotten him some runs. 2-1 pitch here. Way outside, ball 3.
You might wonder why Larissa wouldn't make a change here with the pitcher spot coming up in the order. But Morris has really settled in. He's retired 10 straight Brewers.
Plus his bullpen isn't what it's going to be a month from now.
They don't have Jason Isringhausen, their closer. He's on the DL. They've got some guys down in the bullpen that haven't pitched out of the pen before. Cal Eldred, formerly a starter. He has several records for the Milwaukee Brewers as a starter. Lance Painter has not pitched in a regular season game since 2001. He had Tommy John surgery. Same for Russ Springer, who had back surgery. So there's a lot of question marks down in that pen.
3-2 pitch, runner going, and a base hit down the right field line. Over to third is Martinez. And the Cardinals have the tying run 90 feet away. That's a great job of hitting in the number 8 hole by Mike Matheny.
It's so easy to overlook that number 8 hitter and the importance of battling in that spot, but it gets the pitcher to the plate. And watch the pitch he hits. A fastball down and away. He goes with it. Runner in motion at first base, and Tino Martinez is on the run. He goes all the way to third base. Jeffrey Hammond gets over and cuts it off to keep Matheny at first. Dave McKay, the first base coach, giving instructions. They want to see the sign again from Oquendo. Billy Castro, the bullpen coach, looking at his lineup in his hat to remind him what the Brewers are facing in the Cardinals order.
A lot of possibilities here. That's a safety type squeeze. And safe at first on a throwing error by the pitcher. Should have been the second out of the inning.
Martinez never really came down the line. All they were trying to do was advance the base runner from first to second instead of a double play. Morris puts down a good bunt, but Shane Nance took too long to throw it. He looks at third, and watch how he just takes too much time. There's the look at third. Nobody's going, and now he pumps up on it and pulls Eric Young off the bag at first. So Morris does a job by execution, just too much time looking at third, and that pulls Eric Young off the bag.
Now the bases are loaded with one out instead of second and third, 2 outs. And Fernando Vina, the left-handed batter, digging in. Second error of the day by the Brewers. Their first one cost them a run back in the 5th inning. On a ball that hit off Richie Sexson.
Excuse me, Bob. Pretty timely visit to the mound. There's Curtis Lescanic. He is ready down in the bullpen. He is up last inning and throwing. But Mike Maddox went to the mound to deliver Ned Yost's thoughts. Just a reminder, hey, you make a good pitch here and we can get out of this inning. Although Vina is a tough guy to double up. That's what the Brewers are looking for.
St. Louis Cardinals 1 out of 5 with runners in scoring position today. Two hits, a sacrifice, and an error in this inning. Milwaukee still has the lead for now.
Well, this is the guy that Nance has got to get. He gets him out. And then Lescanic will come on to face Renteria. But you've really got to concentrate to make good pitches. The right-handed hitting Renteria on deck. Vina, always tough to strike out. Toughest in the league.
And a line drive to center will be caught. Tagging at third is Martinez. The throw home is late, and the game is tied.
Fernando Vina, we talked about how tough he is to strike out against the left-hander. Put it in play, not very deep in center, but Alex Sanchez doesn't have a strong arm. With 2 strikes, Vina just pokes it into center. It's a shallow drive, but Sanchez doesn't have a very strong arm, and Tino Martinez comes in to slide across home plate to score the tying run.
Jose Oquendo, coaching at third for St. Louis, a reputation for being aggressive. That was not a speedy runner he just sent home, but a very smart base runner. And another unearned run for the Brewers, or rather for the Cardinals here against the Brewers in the 6th inning. They've had unearned runs in each of the last 2. Now an appeal play coming at third. And Phil Cuzzy doesn't even bother to say safe.
Well, it's the home plate umpire's call. That's why he was waiting for Jerry Crawford to make the call.
And now the pitching change coming, evidently. Rocky inning for Shane Nance of the Brewers. 4-4 now here in St. Louis. Boy, it feels good to be back in the ballpark again. Bob Carpenter, Buck Martinez here in St. Louis. Open air, nice day, big crowd. Hot game. It's 4-4 in the 6th inning now, as we welcome you back to St. Louis and Edgar Renteria against Curtis Lescanic of Milwaukee.
Lescanic's an interesting story. 2001, he saved 17 games, appeared in 70 ball games for Milwaukee, and then had shoulder surgery, missed the entire 2002 season, and had some very significant setbacks, and there was even the possibility he was going to hang it up. But his velocity is back.
This ball well hit down the right field line. That is up against the wall. 1 run scores. Coming around third base, Matheny. He will be held, or Morris rather. And the St. Louis Cardinals are on top for the first time today.
Everybody in the lineup making contributions, and that ball was away from Renteria. He went with it. Pretty good pitch, down and away, stayed on it, drives it down into the right field corner. Jeffrey Hammonds goes after it, but it's slicing away from him, hits at the base of the wall, bounces off the wall. They scored one, but they stopped Matt Morris at third base.
And the error, huge for the Cardinals here. First at bat today for Kerry Robinson, who replaced Jim Edmonds as a pinch runner last time. And his ground ball out to second, fielded by Eric Young. Cardinals pick up 2 unearned runs, and they're on top for the first time. Day on ESPN2, presented by the Home Depot. Busch Stadium, St. Louis, and now the home team is on top. 5-4 Cardinals with a couple of unearned runs in the last 2 innings. And the other developing story here, the efficiency of Matt Morris. First 3 innings, 57 pitches, and all the damage in the last 3 innings, 31 pitches, and he's retired 10 consecutive Milwaukee batters.
That's a sign of a quality pitcher. He can make adjustments during the course of a ball game, and he struggled with his command early in the game. Walked a couple early on, but now he is really in a groove, getting all of his pitches over. Royce Clayton touched him up on the first pitch in the second inning for a 3-run home run.
That's a fair ball down the left field line off the bat of Royce Clayton. He will circle and head for second. And a 2-for-3 day for him. The first Milwaukee batter with a hit since Wes Helms back in the 3rd inning. And that'll bring up a pinch hitter, left-handed hitting outfielder Scott Podsednik.
Well, Clayton's had a good day at the plate, and he represents the tying run now, and Ned Yost to go to his bench and call upon Podsednik. At least you got to move him up. Nobody out, rolling in at third base, potentially looking for a bunt.
And it's a good one. First base side, and the runner is safe.
Little hesitation between Tino Martinez and Matt Morris. Tino looked at Matt. Morris was looking at Tino, and by the time they made up their mind, Morris was late to the bag. Podsednik runs well. Perfectly executed bunt. He takes it with him up the first base line. Martinez is thinking he'll get it, flip it to Morris, but you can see Podsednik just a step ahead of the Cardinals pitcher. Watch the hesitation at first. Tino doesn't really come out of it. He's kind of laying back, and by the time he gets it to Morris, it's too late.
Runners at first and third, nobody out. And now another speedy hitter, Alex Sanchez, and he rifles one out to left field. Into the glove of Pujols, tagging is Clayton, and that quickly the Brewers tie the game.
Well, that is a textbook run right there after they gave up the lead, and the Cardinals came back and scored in the bottom of the 6th. Clayton leads it off with a double. Pinch hitter Podsednik advances him on a base hit, and then Sanchez just going the other way takes what Morris gives him and drives the ball deep enough to left field to tie this game at 5.
And here's Eric Young.
Morris just trying to wait out Podsednik at first base, see if the base runner was going to make a move and break towards second.
A lot of hitting room over there for Eric Young. Instead, he pulls it and has a base hit to left field. Podsednik stopping at second base. And the Brewers showing some mettle here in the 7th inning by battling right back after St. Louis took the lead. We've got more tonight for you. Opening day presented by the Home Depot here on ESPN2. Yankees and Blue Jays. Derek Jeter and Giambi. Up there at the Skydome in Toronto, it's Roger Clemens and Roy Halladay. Roy Halladay on the mound tonight. Should be a great opening day matchup. Halladay, a 19-game winner for those Blue Jays last year.
Roy Halladay's the real deal. He made some adjustments. When I was in Toronto, we sent him down to the minor leagues, and he revamped his delivery. And now he's as nasty as any right-hander in the game today.
Little chopper third base side. Rolen charges. That ball hit the turf and changed directions on him.
Well, he made a good adjustment. That ball bouncing in front of him, and all of a sudden, just as he was about to grab it, it kicked to his right. He played it on the first base in time to retire Sexson. Just kicked to his right, quickly unloads. Boy, he's got great hands and a strong arm.
Richie Sexson 0 for 3 with a walk after that ground ball. And here's John Vander Wal. I think John Vander Wal needs to just step in right now and pretend like this is a pinch hitting appearance. He's really one of the best ever. 119 pinch hits in his career, 17 pinch hit homers. 7th best in hits, 3rd best in home runs ever. A late inning guy is John Vander Wal, to say the least. Takes that breaking ball outside first. And the St. Louis bullpen is now getting busy for the late innings.
The right-hander is Russ Springer. The left-hander is Jeff Becerra, who did a great job for St. Louis a year ago out of the bullpen. Springer, as I mentioned, coming back from back surgery. Dave Duncan is confident that Springer is healthy again. He threw well in the spring, and he obviously has a lot of experience down in that pen. Good live arm, great curveball.
Matt Morris at the 100 pitch mark here in the 7th inning. Earlier, it looked like he may arrive at 100 pitches in about the 5th. The way it was mounting on him, he's been very efficient his last 3 innings.
Well, you just have to manage your stuff at that particular point of a ball game, and early on he wasn't locating, and that elevated his pitch count.
One ball and 2 strikes to John Vander Wal. And a chopper to third. Rolen, tough play, eats him up. A run scores. Milwaukee takes the lead.
Well, that was an in-between hop that Rolen got. He kind of laid back on it. Wasn't sure if it was going to get to him or not. It was a changeup that Vander Wal hit off the end of the bat, kind of cued it down toward third. Rolen was in between as to charge it. See, he's back behind the bag, and there, right there, he gets on his heels, takes a step back, and that handcuffed him. We saw Sexson give ground earlier when he committed an error off the bat of Fernando Vina, and this time Rolen is charged with his first error of the season.
So Milwaukee picks up a 2 spot here in the 7th. Another runner at third, and Jeffrey Hammond's the batter. And a breaking ball drops in there. Jeffrey Hammond's a great athlete. Could have played a couple of different sports. He's only a couple credits short of his history degree at Stanford. Says he intends to go back and take care of that. You talk about an advertisement for Coors Field. He was there for 1 year with the Rockies. Drove in 106 runs. This guy normally averages about 35 or 40 a year. With the Brewers now for the last 3 seasons.
Hammonds came up originally with Baltimore. Looked like a promising young outfield prospect there. Hit 8 home runs in 1994, his first full season there. And he moved on to Cincinnati. That 1 year, 335, 20, and 106. I should have played in Colorado.
I would like to see your numbers there, Bud.
He had 8 or 9 home runs for sure.
And you wouldn't have had to throw anybody out trying to steal second base either.
Nobody steals.
Exactly. The 1-2 pitch is outside. Good job by Hammonds of laying off. Eric Young also had a 4-year spell with the Rockies out there, and his numbers improved dramatically. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. And a breaking ball. Hit deep out to left center. Robinson and Pujols chasing it, and Gary Robinson pulls it in. You got to have a fast center fielder in this ballpark. Milwaukee gets 2 and takes the lead. Opening day here in St. Louis, and Ned Yost of the Milwaukee Brewers, the new skipper. He's definitely got a plan for this bunch. He's gotten them organized so far, and he looks ahead.
When we sign a professional contract to make us professionals, it doesn't say anything about performance. It doesn't say that you have to go out and get 50 home runs a year, or you have to drive in 121 runs, or whatever. You don't have to strike everybody out. What your contract says is that you are on time and that you give your best effort. And if we can do that as a 25-man staff every day, be here on time and give your best effort from the time you step on the field to the time you step off, we're going to be okay.
Well, Yost wants his players to play 3 outs every inning, 9 innings every game, and that's all they ask. And they have shown that already. Little character today as they've come back after giving up an early lead.
And he makes another move to the bullpen now for his right-hander, Luis Vizcaino.
76 appearances a year ago for Vizcaino. He is a very good ERA. You can see he's a strikeout guy, doesn't walk many, doesn't get himself into too many jams. Look at the hits. 55 hits in 81 1/3. That's good work out of the bullpen. He doesn't allow too many base runners when he comes on. Scott Podsednik, the pinch hitter who came in to bat for the pitcher, stays in the 9th position, moves defensively to left field. That means that the pitcher, Vizcaino, will move into the 4th spot in the lineup. Ed Yost checking out that lineup card, make sure he's got everybody in the right order. He'll look to Rich Donnelly, his bench coach, on his left there to help him monitor that, make sure that he's got everything in order in his lineup card.
Albert Pujols for St. Louis, bottom of the 7th. 6-5 Milwaukee now. Albert today with a base hit, an RBI, a walk. Several years ago, there's a baseball academy up in the Kansas City area. And Mike McFarland, our old ESPN colleague, told me one day there was this kid in there swinging, and they were hearing sounds of a ball coming off a bat that they had not heard at their baseball school before. Somebody said, "Who is that in the cage?" And they said it's some JUCO kid from north of the river. I think his name is Pujols. And they went and watched, and they heard, and they became believers. And as they say, the rest has been history for this young man.
Well, he went to high school at Fort Osage High School in Independence, Missouri. Moved there as a 16-year-old. He was born in Dominican, came from New York, and he really honed his skills just outside of Kansas City.
Pretty good heater, and the count's even 2-2.
Well, I love his approach. He is very businesslike, and sometimes you'll see him in a dugout, and he'll have a scowl on his face, and somebody will try to approach him, and he doesn't want to be talked to at that time, and he is so focused on the job at hand.
He goes upstairs, and Vizcaino strikes him out.
Well, he chased a pitch up in the zone. Earlier, we saw him get on top of that pitch and drive it through the left side for an RBI single, but that time he is just a little bit late on the Vizcaino fastball.
Next up is Scott Rowland, who's dying to atone for his error a few minutes ago. And he goes up hacking. It's high in the air out to left. Who's going to take it? Center fielder takes charge, Alex Sanchez. That's the second out here in the bottom of the 7th. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority, the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without expressed written consent. MLB.com has the widest selection of items for the team you love ShopMLB.com, the official site of wearing your heart on your sleeve. Cap, pullover, and lots more. MLB.com.
Good changeup there to Martinez, had him way out in front. Look at the defense here. The outfield is straight away and deep. They don't want to give up a double. And the infield is really played around to pull. Martinez hits anything on the ground, they expect it to be to the pull side of the field. You can see Eric Young a couple of steps on the grass at second.
And a little chopper, which will go foul. Tino tumbling over the back of the pitcher, who is in the process of picking up the foul ball.
Well, that's really close. You've got to allow the fielder the opportunity to field the ball. This guy, very alertly went right after it. It was right on the line, just trickled into foul territory. Tino caught in between. Do I get out of the way? Do I go around him? And, that's really close to obstructing with the defender his opportunity to make a play. Jerry Crawford, the home plate umpire, following the play down the line, signaling foul when contact was made. So,
if anything, if Vizcaino had let the ball go, hoping it was coming back fair, then he probably gets the call.
Then he hits him, right?
But he was picking up the ball while it was foul. Now it's 0-2 to Tino Martinez.
Martinez had a good day here with a 2-run home run and a base hit and scored a run in the 6th. Last year, disappointing with 75 RBIs by Tino Martinez's standards. 860 RBIs over the last 8 seasons.
And a man with 9 postseason home runs. Playing an 8 division series, 7 LCS, and 5 World Series. Breaking ball had him all locked up. Down he goes. A 1-2-3 7th inning for Luis Vizcaino. To the 8th, Milwaukee 6-5.
Took him a while to come back. He actually pitched in winter ball in Puerto Rico for Caguas during the winter. He has thrown the ball well all spring long. Good velocity, no sign whatsoever of any hangover from that shoulder surgery. He's bounced around, pitched for the Yankees, the Angels, the Phillies, the Astros, Arizona, the Braves, Arizona again, and now St. Louis.
And he goes 3-0 on the leadoff man, Wes Helms, as the Brewers get the 8th inning going. 8 hits for each club today. We've had 3 unearned runs scored in the game. Wes Helms, Eddie Perez, and Royce Clayton for the Brewers here in the 8th.
Springer appears to found his location. Last couple of pitches, he made a couple of real good pitches with his fastball down and away after falling behind 3-0.
And he got him after falling behind 3-0. 1 out in the 8th. We check in with Trey Wingo.
All right, Bob and Buck, Ray Durham in San Francisco because Jeff Kent is in Houston. First at bat as a Giant, first at bat of the game against the Padres. Very Kent-like, a home run. Giants leading at 1-0, Bob and Buck.
How about some of the guys getting a charge out of their new ball clubs? Royce Clayton with a home run here today in his first at bat, driving in 3.
Well, Felipe Alou is back in San Francisco. Played there as an outfielder for the Giants. In fact, one time they had all 3 Alous. Felipe, Jesus, and Matty.
Felipe Alou hit the first home run in the history of this ballpark in 1966. In fact, he put 2 of them in the bleachers that night. What a hitter he was. The left-hander, the veteran Jeff Becerro, ready for the second time today. And again, Springer goes 3-0. He did that with Wes Helms, came back to strike him out. Now he's gone 3 balls, no strikes on Eddie Perez. A Milwaukee ball club that won only 25 games on the road last year. 25-56. And of course, they didn't exactly turn Miller Park into a home field advantage either, winning only 31 there.
You lose 106, you lose them everywhere.
Yeah.
And Ned Yost, along with Richie Dower, looking on here as they're trying to hang on to a 1-run lead here in the 8th.
Had a 4-run lead earlier. Cardinals took it away, then they got it back. And as we mentioned, it's only 400 miles from St. Louis to Milwaukee, but it was 41 games from St. Louis to Milwaukee last year. Cardinals won the division going away over Houston. And that's a ball club, the Astros right now, Buck, that I don't hear a whole lot of talk about, and you and I agree that they are very solid.
Well, they sure are. Jeff Kent, of course, as we just mentioned, there at second base, and they've got a good pitching staff and a lot of production in their lineup. Jimmy Williams, a seasoned manager. They got a lot of things working for them.
Some good arms.
This is going to be a tough division. The Cardinals, of course, the reigning champs, they obviously have improved their club by keeping Scott Rowe, and Tino Martinez is healthy. We've talked about all of the wonderful attributes of this ball club. The Cubs with Dusty Baker and Kerry Wood and young Mark Pryor in their rotation.
This is a high fly ball near the left field foul pole. Interesting play. In the corner, it's a home run. Eddie Perez with a home run just over the yellow line, just inside the pole. And the Brewers have hit their 3rd of the day and lead it 7-5.
How to make yourself feel part of the team in your first game with a new organization. Royce Clayton hit a 3-run home run in his first at bat. Eddie Perez, relishing the opportunity afforded him by Ned Yost, hits the foul pole down the left field line and scrapes the screen on the fair side of the foul pole.
That is his 25th career major league home run at the age of 34.
He got a couple of hits today. He's enjoying a good day at the plate, 2 for 4.
Royce Clayton's had a good day with a 3-run homer, a double, 3 RBIs, 2 runs scored. March 26th of 90, or maybe September 26th of 99, the last time that Eddie Perez has gone deep. I know we're starting early, but we haven't started on March 26th yet. We may get there here on March 31st, and of course the Angels Rangers opener last night. And this ball hit well to left field from Clayton, right at Albert Pujols for the second out. Well, here we are in the top of the 8th inning at St. Louis. Bob Carpenter and Buck Martinez, and we're seeing some things from this Milwaukee ball club that indicates that Ned Yost has brought some life to this thing.
Well, Bob, all year long throughout the spring, Ned Yost kept saying we got to play hard, we got to do the little things. We've seen hit and run, we've seen quality defensive plays, we've seen good pitching, and One thing that Ned Yost is going to demand of this ball club is play hard. You never know what's going to happen, and he's got his guys playing, and they had an early lead. They gave it up, and they've scratched right back, and now are 2 runs out in front of the Cardinals here in the 8th.
You know, and sometimes you talk to guys who've been around the organization for a while, not necessarily players, but guys like Bill Schroeder, who works on TV for them, longtime Brewer catcher, Bob Uecker, of course, and the thing they tell you is there's a program now. It just feels like everybody's on the same page coming out of spring training. We'll see if they can sustain it, but that's a pretty significant thing for a manager to do in a very short period of time.
Well, it is, and Ned, without any managerial experience, obviously this is his first major league job, but he learned from the best, in my mind, Bobby Cox. They spent 12 years together down in Atlanta. Ned was the bullpen coach, eventually moved to the third base coaching box, and learned an awful lot from Bobby Cox.
Scott Podsednik strikes out, and Eddie Perez homer has the Brewers on top now by 2. It's getting late for the Cardinals here on opening day at Busch Stadium. Bottom of the 8th, they're down by a couple. And the Milwaukee bullpen with Luis Vizcaino continues to work. Eli Marrero leads off. 3 Milwaukee home runs today from the likes of Royce Clayton, Eric Young, and Eddie Perez. Tino Martinez with a 2-run blast for the Cardinals.
Well, you can see the good life in Luis Vizcaino's fastball. Upstairs, a lot of late movement. He'll pitch over 90 miles an hour, but it's the late finish on the fastball that really makes him effective. And there's Mike DeJohn, the closer for the Brewers.
27 saves last year for that right-hander. That was close, but it was ball 1, according to Jerry Crawford, who's in his 27th year in a major league umpiring uniform.
And he's the only one that counts when it comes to balls and strikes. Everybody can complain and moan and groan about him, but he makes up his mind, and it'll stand.
No, here we go again. A 1-2 pitch. And a little pop fly heading for the seats on the right side. Pretty good pitching matchup tonight. Clemens and Halladay as the Yankees are in Toronto for opening night. It's part of our Major League Baseball opening day presented by the Home Depot. Can Derek Jeter or Giambi and the Yankees get back to their championship form? They've got a tough right-hander to take on tonight.
Rory Halladay, great breakthrough season for him last year. Roger Clemens 7 wins away from that 300-win plateau.
7 o'clock Eastern. Coming up next when we wrap it up here in St. Louis. Eli Marrero leans back from ball 2 and the count's even. Mike Matheny next, and then we expect Tony La Russa to dip into that bench of his. He has a left-hander, Orlando Palmeiro, in the dugout, who's a very, very good role player. A switch hitter, and Wilson Delgado. And a couple of right-handers in Miguel Cairo and Eduardo Perez, who were great part-time guys and late-inning guys for La Russa last year.
Tony La Russa, throughout his managerial career, has really utilized the bench people. He's made sure that they stay sharp, and he's not at full strength right now. Of course, J.D. Drew is on a disabled list, and that will change the makeup of the bench dramatically when he returns.
Marrero hanging tough. J.D. Drew battling a knee problem. Had some surgery at the end of last season. Walt Jocketty told us yesterday, we hope J.D. will be back in 4 weeks, but he's not sure he'll be back by then. And his injury-filled career here over the last 5 years has been somewhat of an irritation to St. Louis fans, who see all that potential. 2-2 pitch. And it's ball 3. Walt Jocketty has done a very good job in his 8 years here building a championship caliber club.
He and Tony La Russa had a relationship when they worked together in Oakland, and they continue to have a very strong relationship. They work well together. great communications back and forth.
Walt also had time in the Colorado organization. And he's got some good lieutenants. Bob Gebhardt, Jim Leland, Jerry Walker, a great baseball man. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 10th pitch of this at bat. And after having Marrero 0-2, Vizcaíno walks him. And that's the kind of at bat Eli Marrero doesn't have very often. He is such a free swinger.
Yeah, he just recognized that if he was patient enough, Vizcaíno might put him on. Vizcaíno jumped out ahead, as Bob mentioned, but then couldn't put him away.
So the tying run into the batter's box in the person of Mike Matheny.
That's where younger pitchers really get into trouble. They forget where they are in the lineup. You're up by 2 runs, you have nobody out, and you walk the number 7 hitter. This is the part of the lineup you really have to be aggressive on. You don't want to work around till you get to the Scott Rowlands and Albert Pujolses in this Cardinal lineup. It's the 8th inning. Go after that bottom third of the lineup.
Tony La Russa is a manager who never likes to tip his hand before he has to. So with a runner on a Matheny in the batter's box, he has gone ahead and sent pitcher Russ Springer to the on-deck circle.
But you can bet he has talked to Palmeiro already, and so you be ready to pinch hit in that 9th spot. And he will pass that along to the hitting coach, and he'll have Mitchell Page tell his hitter to be ready.
I don't think any manager pays more attention to tiny details than does La Russa. And if you don't believe it, dig up an old copy of Men at Work by George Will and read the section on La Russa managing. You just won't believe the detail in which this man dwells. Runner going, and a pop-up over the dugout. And Tony, of course, is way up there on the active list. He and Bobby Cox. And this is the all-time list.
Most wins by a manager, and that's a pretty impressive list that Tony La Russa is closing ground on. Leo DeRocher, Walter Alston, Joe McCarthy. Connie Mack, 1,000 games ahead of John McGraw.
You're going to have to manage a while to catch old Cornelius McGillicuddy. Tony La Russa will go over 2,000 this year. Matheny hits the ball deep to center, but right there is Alex Sanchez, and he's got it for the first out. Springer will return to the dugout, and Orlando Palmeiro will appear.
Palmeiro, one of the few free agent acquisitions this club made. They signed Palmeiro off of that World Series champion Anaheim Angels team, and he served an important role over there for the Angels for a number of years. Last year, he hit 300 with Anaheim. Had 263 at-bats. Serving as the extra outfielder.
Yeah, second time he had done that. Well over 200 at-bats with a 300 batting average. He also did it back in 2000 with the Angels. 34-year-old guy, and he can move around defensively as well.
Now, he has a good approach to the plate right now. He recognizes his job is to get on base and stay out of double play. Turn the lineup over and get to the heart of the order.
A 7-5 game in the bottom of the 8th with Milwaukee on top. Pirates continue with their big lead at Cincinnati. Trey Wingo showed us some of the early fireworks at the Great American Ballpark by the visitors, the Pirates. They put 6 on the board in the second. Now Palmeiro lashes one into the corner. That's a fair ball. It gets away from Hammonds. Marrero scores easily, and Palmeiro has a pinch hit triple. And that totally changes the complexion of this game again.
Boy, you walk that number 7 hitter late in the ball game, and you really create problems for yourself. Ned Yost looking to his pitching coach. for some supporting ideas. That ball ran out over the plate. Palmeiro just reaches for it and hooks it down into the corner in right field. Barrero, good speed. That ball just inside. Wow, just barely nicked the line if it did.
They don't really put chalk on that line down there. It's kind of like a fire hose that's sitting in the warning track, so chalk did not fly. And that thing just did nick the line. Tying runs at third, St. Louis right back in it. Line, you know, and this isn't the traditional chalk line, Buck, that we're used to.
Now it's a fire hose that's embedded in the ground, and watch the ball ricochet hard to the right. It hits on the corner of that fire hose and shoots to the wall on the right. And that's how the umpire at first base, Brian Honora, could make that call, because he saw it distinctly kick off that foul line and go into the corner. There you see that thing is buried in the ground. It's painted every day and made sure that they can just sweep it off. You can see how they have swept the warning track aside, and it's permanently embedded into the ground. And when it hit that edge of that fire hose, it kicked hard right into the wall.
Well, here's Fernando Vina with a chance to tie this game.
Mike DeJean, 68 games a year ago, just 75 innings. He didn't come into a ball game before the ninth very often, but the Brewers are in a jam.
The infield is in. Fernando Vina, long drive, right center. And this one is up against the wall. The game is tied again on a Vina double.
Up and down the lineup, this Cardinal team has weapons that can beat you. They beat you with speed, they beat you with home runs, and Vina connects with a tying double to the wall in right center.
That's the lead run at second base now. Edgar Renteria, the batter. He has 2 hits today. Ball gets off the catcher's glove, and the lead runs on third. And a pass ball charged to the normally reliable Eddie Perez.
Boy, we have seen the momentum in this game go back and forth a couple of times throughout this game, and now Mike Maddox wants to come out, slow things down a bit. DeJean threw one pitch, it was a double to the wall. Through the second pitch, it was off the glove back to the backstop. So Maddox trying to calm down his closer. Ned Yost looks on, very concerned as the Cardinals are trying to take the lead here in the 8th. 2 runs in already.
Infield in again. And a strike that'll even the count. Edgar Renteria on base 3 times today. Has been overmatched by DeJean, though, through his career, with only 2 out of 13.
Well, you can see the great movement on DeJean's sinker. That ball started out at the knees and just disappeared, and Renteria could just barely foul it off to waste a pretty good pitch.
Did he go? Home plate umpire says yes, and Renteria is gone for the second out.
Jay Crawford never even looked for help down the first base line. He saw it all the way and quickly threw up the right arm, indicating the strikeout. He felt Renteria went too far on that splitter. You can see that he tries to fight back, but the umpire, watch him look at that bat head. Yeah, you went too far, Edgar.
now. John can get out of the inning by retiring Kerry Robinson. He drags a bunt. It's a foot race, and the run scores. 8-7, St. Louis.
Well, they've used just about every offensive weapon in the playbook today. A two-out base hit bunt by Kerry Robinson, who came on as a pinch runner earlier in the game for Jim Edmonds, and the Cardinals have scored 3 here in the bottom of the 8th. Perfect execution. Takes it right up the line. DeJean tries to shovel it, but can't make a play. What a perfect bunt by Kerry Robinson.
Albert Pujols could put the icing on it for the Cardinals here. A 3-run 8th inning. Normally, Jason Isringhausen would be up and throwing. Tony La Russa doesn't have that right now, but he's in a good spot. In a seesaw game that has seen 20 hits and 15 runs. There's no guarantee Kerry Robinson staying at first base with 2 outs either.
Robinson a year ago, 7 steals and 11 attempts, so he's a threat to take on.
He's off and running. Forget it.
No chance. Boy, he picked his spot perfectly. He got in the head of Mike DeJean, got a great jump. Eddie Perez, the catcher, couldn't even attempt to throw.
So the last man to make the roster yesterday could be the offensive player who wins this thing on opening day.
Steals it going away. Tony La Russa talked about Kerry Robinson right before the game, saying he's done a good job for us in the past. He's a good defender. He's a left-handed bat. And certainly he's going to feel great about that decision if the Cardinals hold on to this game.
They'll go ahead and walk Pujols now with first base open. We'll get our Wednesday night doubleheaders going for you. 48 hours from now, 7 Eastern, Sammy and the Cubs continue their series with Mo Vaughn and the Mets. Miguel Tejada and the A's will take on Ichiro and the Seattle Mariners. In the early window, some of you will get the Expos and the Braves. Wednesday night baseball on ESPN2. 49,561 paid today. They're on their feet for this at bat by Scott Rowland. Cardinal fans looking for the knockout punch here in the bottom of the 8th. There it goes. See you later. For the error. And a curtain call for Scott Rowland. It's 11-7 St. Louis.
6 runs in the 8th, and it all started with a leadoff walk for the number 7 hitter. And before you know it, you're in the heart of the order.
A hitter who hardly ever walks.
DeJohn's taking the brunt of this inning, but Luis Vizcaíno has the responsibility of walking that leadoff batter. The possibility of facing 7, 8, and 9 in the 8th inning, protecting a 2-run lead. You just got to know where you are in the lineup. The scoreboard tells you all the strategy you need to know. Up by 2, 7, 8, 9, go after it.
2 balls and 2 strikes now to Tino Martinez, the 9th St. Louis batter here in the 8th inning. Well, the Cardinals feel, because of some of the uncertainty about their pitching staff, until Chris Carpenter's back, until Isringhausen's back, they may have to blast their way to some victories the first month. They are blasting away today. And it's ball 3 to Tino.
Well, they got the right guys. They can play a short game. They can execute. They can steal bases. They can move runners. And they can play long ball with you.
Martinez walks.
Well, they want to take it a couple of steps further. Central Division champs a year ago. They dispatched the Diamondbacks. They lost Scott Rowland in that division series.
Elon Marrero got all of this started with a leadoff walk. That was 9 batters and 6 runs ago. And he hits a high fly ball to center. Alex Sanchez is under it, and the Brewers are going to bat in the 9th inning, down by 4 runs. They were once up by 4, and the big blast, a no-doubter by Scott Rowland. After 8 in St. Louis, the Cardinals 11, Milwaukee 7. Well, a lot of home runs, the theme of the day, Trey Wingo, here in St. Louis. Scott Rowland goes deep, and Mike DeJohn roughed up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning. And what about when he was about to come in?
Well, here you can see DeJohn has been summoned from the pen. He's not sure if they want him or the left-hander. He said, "You want me?" And Ned Yost distinctly called for the right-hander. Billy Castro's checking on the phone. He says, "Yeah." And DeJohn didn't appear as though mentally he was ready to come into the game. And the first pitch he threw was a double to Fernando Vina. The second pitch was a ball off the glove of Eddie Perez back to the screen.
Here's Jeff Becerro to try to close it out for St. Louis in a non-save situation.
Good job by Becerro, coming over from the Cubs last year. 73 games in total. Very durable guy. Starter throughout most of his career. Has made the adjustment to the bullpen fairly effectively. I make the point about Mike DeJohn because he is the closer of this ball club, and I talked about his 68 appearances a year ago, only 75 innings. So he is not used to coming into a game before the 9th. Plus the fact that Vina, left-handed hitter, was at the plate, and I think he was caught off guard. Now, mind you, it's his responsibility to come in and get people out. He should be prepared for anything, but it just appeared to me that he wasn't thinking about coming into the game when Yost went to the mound. He was expecting the call to be for the left-hander.
Well, a day that started out in so promising fashion on the Brewers falling apart here at the end as they give up 11 on opening day when they had a 4-0 lead into the middle innings against Matt Morris. And now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes on Alex Sanchez. Eric Young and Richie Sexson to follow for the Brewers here in the top of the 9th inning.
You see Yost and now we're talking about the possibilities of how you keep this thing going.
Edgar Renteria throws out Alex Sanchez. Busch Stadium, St. Louis. And just a couple of minutes past the 6 o'clock hour here. They're getting ready to hang their first W of the season. A ball club that put it up 97 times last year. Tony La Russa going to make a pitching change here. He's been known to do this up 4 or 5 runs. As Jeff Fassero got the left-hander Sanchez and Eric Young is the next man. Tony wants the ball and he's going to have a new pitcher. 1 out in the 9th. The wheels continue to turn in St. Louis. Well, Ned Yost looking out over the field and wondering how could all of this happen my first day in the dugout. Yankees and Blue Jays up in Toronto coming up next with Halladay and Clemens on the mound tonight. Couple more outs to get here in St. Louis. And Tony La Russa will get Cal Eldred into a sort of no pressure situation.
Well, Tony La Russa, you know, he gets criticized an awful lot for making all these moves, but he knows what he has to do to get his team prepared to win games. And Cal Eldred had not worked out of a bullpen before, so he said, you know, I might have to throw him out there in a tough situation before I really have a chance to get him out there. So now, given this comfortable lead and an opportunity to get Eldred an appearance out of the pen, he's taken advantage of it.
Eric Young takes a strike. Cal Eldred with the Milwaukee Brewers from 91 through 99. Eric Young lines one to left. Albert Pujols can't get there, and the ball is to the wall for an extra base hit. And Eric Young has a 3-for-5 day on opening day with a homer, single, and now a double.
Well, Eldred with a big curveball. It stayed on the inside part of the plate, and Young was able to turn on it and drive it down into the corner and left. But you mentioned Eldred's run in Milwaukee, and he was the ace of their staff for a number of years. 253 innings as a starter. 1 year for the Brewers. That's their team record for innings pitched, and he was a workhorse. He and Matheny had teamed up before when they were both in Milwaukee, so they know one another.
Richie Sexson 0 for 3 with a walk. And ball 2 from Cal Eldred. Barring a game-ending line drive double play here, the Brewers will have a pinch hitter next in the number 4 spot. It's where the pitcher has been since the 7th when they made a double switch. And it's 3-0 now on Richie Sexson. 1 on, 1 out, top of the 9th. Milwaukee down by 4. And Richie Sexson knows they need base runners.
Well, he might even take another one here, 3-2. Maybe not.
He took a pretty good cut. He saw something he liked.
Pitch was up and out over the plate. Great extension by Sexson, but he just fouled it back to run the count to 3-2.
This ball is gone to right field. Richie Sexson makes it 11-9. 29 last year in his first of 2003. And with 2 outs yet to get, this thing is still in doubt.
Well, you got to admire the Brewers for hanging in there. They have led 4-0. Saw that evaporate. And then after a 6-run bottom of the 8th inning, they fell behind by 4, but there's still an awful lot of enthusiasm in that dugout as Dave Duncan comes out to talk to Cal Eldred. A 3-2 fastball just out over the plate, and when Richie Sexson can extend his arms, there's no ballpark that can hold him. Great power to all parts of the ballpark, and Bob, you knew it immediately. As soon as he touched that one off, it was gone.
Pete Ginter will be the batter. Batting in the number 4 hole. He came with Wayne Franklin in the Mark Loretta deal last August from Houston. Former All-American at Texas Tech, and he's got a base hit to left field. These are some of the things Tony La Russa is going to have to deal with without his closer.
And obviously, La Russa never takes anything for granted, and he's got his bullpen working in a hurry to get ready. He wants somebody to go out and talk to him. He just signaled Tino Martinez, go out and talk to him, buy me some time, let me get that bullpen ready down there.
Dustin Hermanson.
And Steve Klein, the left-hander, in a hurry.
Well, it's opening day. It's March. Is this March Madness? 11-9 in St. Louis, and now La Russa will make the pitching change.
Yep, he is called to the bullpen.
Eldred, 3 hitters, 3 hits. It's still in doubt in St. Louis. Bottom of the 9th. Necessary? We'll see. We're still in the top. It's a 2-run game. Yankees and Blue Jays coming up next. We're going to get you up to Dave O'Brien and Rob Dibble at the Sky Dome immediately when this one is over. Scott Rowland, how big is his home run right now? It looks like the Cardinals will need every one of those runs he drove in.
Scott Rowland in the 8th inning caps off a 6-run outbreak by the Cardinals when he goes deep to the seats in left field. His first home run of the year, a 3-run shot, and has become tradition here in St. Louis. The tip of the cap to the crowd. Steve Klein comes on for Tony La Russa, 66 games out of the pen a year ago. A very effective left-hander. And in talking to La Russa before the game, we asked him, who's going to close for you? And he just kind of juggled 3 baseballs and said, I don't know, whoever I can run out there. And he's got confidence in Facero. He's got confidence in Klein. He thinks that Springer will be capable of doing that. But he is anxious to get Jason Isringhausen back out there as the closer.
The tying runs in the batter's box. There's still only 1 out here in the 9th. And it's a right-handed batter, Jeffrey Hammonds, who has home run power. And he lines it to second. Good base running play by Ginter not to get doubled off as Vigna grabbed the line drive.
Well, that's a good point, Bob. Your reactions are such that you take that extra step, and the line drive, Ginter froze on it and got back to first base in time to keep the inning alive.
And a crowd that has to be near exhaustion on their feet one more time for a possible final out here.
Sharp liner right to Vigna, but Keith Ginter retreats in time to stay alive.
Here's Wes Helms. Lays off a high fastball. Helms is 1 for 4 today in his Milwaukee debut. Cardinals trying to nail down a victory for Russ Springer, which would be his first in 3 years. 1 ball, 1 strike. And after 3 hours and 3 minutes of baseball, 20 runs, 24 hits, it may only take 1 more pitch. That's it. St. Louis wins it 11-9. Springer the win. Klein gets a save, and DeJong the loser for Milwaukee. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Buck Martinez, I'm Bob Carpenter. Hope you enjoyed it from St. Louis. Now to Dave O'Brien and Rob Dibble in Toronto.